the millennial one.
I'm right on the edge of Gen.
Yes.
I was hoping we'd all go. If it happens.
Which one is it?
94 comments, between 93 and 78. I'm like, I see it was right here.
Oh, which they're also calling
For all of us to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, mine was.
You hit 11.
Remember mine was.
So maybe that's 10.
She was.
No.
She was urgent.
How about you?
Yeah.
No, I left, I didn't want to, I did like with the other. I just wanted to keep it.
Tell the truth.
Thursday morning.
It's like, it's taking quite much good.
I can't, like you said, I can't help it, it's just, I'm attracted to it, it was actually just a traffic collision.
Oh dear.
But I did have to give it to you, I didn't want to.
Do you need this now?
I'll like your name to it. I got it. The next week.
That's it.
Good.
Special ninjas.
Okay, we're gonna reconvene into open session. There's nothing to report out in terms of we didn't take any votes in closed session. Can we please stand for pledge allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Okay, 5.1, receive reports from district organizations, councils, or committees.
Okay. Well, we don't have much to report. One exciting thing is the CTA Good Teaching Conference was held last weekend, and we had over a dozen teachers from Santa Rita going, and thanks to the district for helping us give scholarships. CTA, or we, SRTA and the district split all the costs and got those teachers going, and it was an amazing conference. We're getting ready for negotiations, and so that's going to be fun, and you'll hear more about our involvement with SALT in a little bit when Melissa or Becky makes a presentation. And that's about it.
Right, we have the new teacher conference.
Oh, the new teacher conference is coming up, and we're sending teachers to that also. So, okay, thank you.
Okay. So 5.2, reports from school principals, directors, department staff, chief learning officers.
Yeah, so, we have a couple exciting things going on in the food service right now. We had a visit from our POS vendor, Kite School Solutions. I sent somebody out to basically get all the data entry or most of the data entry in for our menus. So there's a family portal link on our website, on our department page. Families can go there, click on it, see the menus online, hover over menu items, see the calories, the sodium, so on and so forth. It's interactive, so you can, if you're a vegetarian, you can click vegetarian and it'll show you what you can eat. Not only dietary, but then religious restrictions as well. So if you can't eat pork, we have one that says contains pork. You click on that and it crosses off everything you cannot eat. So very interactive. It'll also help with paperless things. So we'll no longer be doing production records with paper. We'll, as soon as the staff is all up and running on it, we'll have paperless production records. The other thing is the equipment grant that we just got approved for. Unfortunately, we only got approved at LJ and or La Jolla Central Kitchen. It's based on if you've had a grant in the past, and we have, those are the only two sites that have not been approved yet since I've been there, so we finally got them approved. The 3 items we'll be looking at getting is a new food service vehicle, either a van for catering or making small runs to school sites, or a new box truck to have a second actual delivery vehicle. It just depends on the amount that we got awarded. Also looking at getting a barbecue trailer, give us another option of cooking method. So maybe once a month we go to a school site and do barbecue as the actual lunch. So we still get reimbursed for the meals, and something cool for the kids. And La Jolla got approved for a milk cooler, all the sites I requested milk coolers, but La Jolla was the only one that got approved. So we're gonna get a new milk cooler there. And that's it.
Thank you so much. Any questions?
I guess more comments. I was pretty excited about what you mentioned as far as parents being able to go there interactively to kind of see the traditional facts, and also mixing up the food as far as being able to barbecue at the sites and stuff. Kind of get the kids excited, I'm sure.
Well, thank you for all your work on this. We really, really appreciate it. Ms. Moore?
So we just submitted our credential assignment monitoring to MCOE. That's an annual audit that's done. The state is moving to an online auditing process. And so this year is a non-consequential year, but next year any missed assignments will be made public on the CDE website. So I've been working this year since I got here with principals, with teachers to make sure that credentials and assignments are in alignment. Also, Melissa and I have been working with the principals, meeting with them to talk about staffing for next year. Often they're the first ones who hear if the teacher might be moving over the summer. So we're anticipating our staffing needs as recruitment season kicks off. Saturday, the 22nd, we'll be at Hartnell with the MCOE teacher recruitment fair. And then on the 27th, we'll be going to CSUMB for their recruitment fair. We will be hosting our top candidates in March for kind of a meet and greet here in the district, a little tour of the district, and potentially, depending on what openings we have at that time, start offering contracts. And then we also, as Jill mentioned, have been working with both of our labor teams. Melissa and I went with the leadership from SRTA and from CSEA to Cal MI last week before last. I'm trying to remember.
In January.
End of January. So with other districts in the county for the labor management initiative. And we formed officially our SALT team, not assault, but SALT, which is Santa Rita Administration and Labor Team. And we're meeting regularly with the goal of a collaborative relationship where we can work on the district's initiatives and also challenges in a collaborative and productive way. And so we're just starting that work, but we're excited about it. We're getting ready to open negotiations with both units, but we're in a great place with both of our unions and feel like we're going to have some really productive conversations that are going to get our district in an even better place.
I just have a comment. I'm just very pleased that our HR department is building those bridges with our employee groups. You know, from my earliest times on the board, it was very opposing type of situation. You know, and now it's completely upside down. You know, so I hope you guys continue to build that bridge and. So we have the professionalism and dedication to our students, but I'm loving what I hear. Every year it seems like we're getting better bridges being built.
No, I'm really grateful to you, and I know it benefits the employees, but ultimately benefits the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just a win-win.
Good evening.
So we're currently working on the next budget, which is the second interim. It's coming up on March 11th for your approval. Working on reviewing position control, looking at vacancies, making sure we have everything accurate for the next budget. So you're going to see those updates on the next budget presentation. We had our first ADA training with the attendance clerks in all the district for all the school sites. We talk about the importance of attendance and ADA and making sure that we have everything accurate in the system. As you remember, on the last app report of 2020, so I just went over that and explained to them how important it is. This year, it's the first year that all of our school sites are involved with independent study, which is very important for our funding. So I'm looking forward for that. That's going to be reflected on our next attendance report, which is the P2. And we're continuing on working with counselors audit findings. I'll provide some information, but you're going to see on the approval, this is pretty much to make it official and send those payments. I'm currently working with counselors to, I know in the past they said you would have to make a check to the retiree, and then the retiree would have to send the payment to counselors. And we are actually the first district in California who's actually willing to pay those penalties. So since we are the first district and we've been emailing back and forward, they are willing to work with our district on sending those payments directly to counselors, which is going to be a benefit for the retirees. As you know, some of the retirees are working as the substitute teachers and they have a limit of how much earnings they can get. So if we give this check to the retirees, we have to report that as earnings, and it's going to be affected of how much work they can get done. So it's really good news that they're willing to work with us, and so that we can send the payment directly to them. So I'm waiting on their direction. We've been contacting each other almost every other day for updates, so we're on it, and I'm looking forward to finalize this. That's pretty much what I have.
I have a question. I know there was going to be adjustments because of the counselors for current teachers. Either they have to owe or they're going to get an extra.
Right.
Has those checks come out yet as far as?
Yes, well, those adjustments were done in January, and we sent out an email communication saying how much they were gonna be off, or more, I would say about, out of that 187 employees, all of them got a credit back, so they got a little bit extra money on their net pay. We have 14 employees who actually would have to send more to counselors. And for those employees, if it was $50 or more, I send out emails and send out a payment fine to see what months they would like us to send that extra payment to counselors. Because I know and all of them have different amounts. It's just depending on the years that they work here and the stipends or the special payments that they have. But I send out emails to have a communication, and I make myself available for any meetings or any more explanations. We have spreadsheets with all the readjusting entries that we have to do. So I have those available if any of the teachers have a question about which payment, what year was it a stipend, or was it the one-time percentage that we got? We have all of that. So I feel comfortable having those meetings and having a conversation with them. It's just very hard because all employees, they all have different earnings, they all have different stipends, they all work different years, so it's just different amount for everyone. But like I said, I'm always available to go over.
No, we appreciate it. Have they seen that adjustment on their check yet, or is it going to be like the February check?
So for the ones that they got a credit back, they already seen that on the January paycheck. For those that were $50 and more, I give them the option so they can tell me when is a good month for us to take that money. And this was something that I really have to work with the county office. Like, there's other 12 districts that have to do these adjustments. And usually what they do is they just take it one pay period, that's it. but we have to go with special procedures on how we can hold that, because for some of them, we're more than $100. So I didn't want that to be a big effect on the employees, because they already have their plans on how they're gonna spend the money. So we have to go do extra work and everything to put a hold on that, and do letters to emails, and have like a spreadsheet where they can indicate, okay, this month you can take this amount, this month you can take this other amount. Most of them were about $100. We have 2 employees who were up to $500, but most of them were about $50 to $100, except for 2 of them, which was a little bit more than $500. But they do have the control on when they can send them.
Cool. And thank you for doing that as well.
No, just to thank you, and because this has been a long process, but with Tim's leadership, it all started to clear up, and we built, with those meetings that we had with Tim, we built a lot of trust with the retired teachers, because I felt so bad for them. And they were in a big crisis, and the meetings with Tim built that trust, and it's going to continue with you by opening up your doors to anybody who needed questions answered. So thank you very much.
Okay, so we're at reports of the board on activities or meetings attended. Mr. Sandoval?
So I attended the Santa Rita Cafecito. So a couple of things that were brought up, and I know we talked about it, some parents came to speak to, as far as yard duties being hired at the Santa Rita school site. I know I think you mentioned there's one open position.
Yes.
Okay. I think the principal at the district, I don't know if he misspoke, mentioned that they were going to hire 2 yard duties. Is that not the case, or?
He and I have been in communication about the positions to really clarify what the openings are.
Okay.
So there was a little bit of confusion.
Okay. So at this point going forward, just because I know some parents were kind of concerned as far as the amount of supervision happening out there. So for sure, there's one open position for yard duty that's going to be hired. Is that correct, or just so you clarify?
There's one position. He's also talking about the way that the yard duties are stationed, and possibly changing that rotation to ensure better coverage for safety and supervision.
Okay. So does that mean that there's no yard duties going to be hired if they do the rotation?
We have one vacancy because of the budget concerns. Tim has asked that we pause on it, so the position is not closed, but we're holding just to see how our numbers shake out before we hire that position. Again, with the rotation, we're thinking that there is going to be better coverage. There are currently 10 yard duty supervisors assigned to that site, in addition to paraprofessionals who also help with supervision. But if the concern continues to come up, if that's not able to resolve the issue, that position is still there that we can look to hire.
So just to clarify, it's not posted at the moment?
It's not currently posted.
Posted.
And we do have, he just interviewed 4 paras because there was one opening for that as well. And so that's an additional person that we are offering to going through the clearance process now.
So that was one of the concerns that was kind of brought up again. So I guess we'll partly see how the rotation works
The
out.
rotation and the additional para.
And the additional para, and then we'll kind of figure it out. The other thing that was kind of brought up at the Cafecito by some of the parents was, it's been in the work as far as having a parent resource center at the Santa Rita. And I know long-term wise, in something big, but some of the parents had mentioned similar to Bolson Knowles when we started small. So I don't know how we can potentially kind of put that into the works. And they kind of talked a little bit about maybe doing English classes to start off with, or computer classes. A lot of the stuff is now technology based, and there is a lot of parents, primarily Spanish speaking parents, who don't know how to maneuver through the emails on the website. So they even asked a little bit about having computer classes and kind of figuring that out. And I'm not sure, I know Tim's not here, but we had talked about maybe having a partnership to have English classes at sites. I'm not sure if you know who looked into that.
So we looked into partnering up with there's a local group working on adult literacy as well as English classes. We had John in for a meeting to begin that process of potentially starting at Bolsonals at the Parent Resource Center. And then for Santa Rita, looking at when we move those new rooms in, that potentially we can free up space to go ahead and open up our Parent Resource Center. The goal is to start next school year with one functioning at Santa Rita Elementary as well.
I think that's part of the conclusion. I think the Parent Resource Center was talked a lot about, and some parents got wrong expectations as far as like timelines
Right.
and
Okay.
stuff. Yeah, so I think,
Well, for Santa Rita, space is at a premium, and so we've got to get the new rooms in so that we can free up the space to have one. We currently don't have a space there that we could allocate for that. And so that's part of the plan, and when we bring those new rooms in, that we can free up the space.
okay. And I think I also want maybe to have a conversation in the future as a board, just in case, because I know there was a plan to put in the portables in, and because of the bids that came in much higher, that if that happens again, that potentially doesn't hinder us having a family resource center. And maybe there'd be an alternative to see what else can be done, even if it's using the library temporarily and only having 1 day a week, for it to be open for the parents. Just some ideas maybe we could try in the future as well. And the other thing I kind of wanted to touch bases on, can we gain access to, I guess, how many parents, and specifically at Santa Rita and La Jolla, the parents primarily only speak Spanish? Is there a way for us to, not sure if it's on the school dashboard or how we can send together that information? Yeah, because one thing I also want to thank the district and the board and the staff is how we're recording the meetings, because I wasn't able to attend the LCAT meeting. But since it was recorded, I also was able to kind of catch up and kind of see what was happening and stuff. But I'm still noticing that a lot of the parents who participate sometimes are primarily Spanish-speaking parents. And as an idea, I want to kind of see what the numbers are. If in certain school sites it's more than, let's say, 50%, might be worth looking at holding the LCAT meetings or the cafecitos primarily in Spanish, and then having an English version. Because sometimes, even though there's translations, I can sense that the parents don't really get to participate because the conversation keeps going and going and going, and that parents kind of try to catch up and understand what's going on.
So are the cafecitos in Spanish or
No, they're in English
at Santa Rita?
at all the school sites. I mean, they have translation, but I think what happens is it's tough because the translator is trying to keep up, and then people are being engaged into whatever the topic is. So they get behind as far as trying to understand what's happening.
But there are translators.
Yeah, there are translators. And that's it for me.
Mr. Patel?
I got a couple of concerns this week about our calendaring process, especially this week, because this district has Friday off and the high school district doesn't. And so there's a lot of issues regarding, hey, I can't drop my son off here, where am I gonna put my son up for, So there's just a need maybe, to better align it in some way, somehow, if we can, with the other district, especially with Rancho San Juan, since both of our middle schools are feeding into that. So it might be a concern, maybe for us to look into. Also, the other thing is with our SROs, I just want to say thank you very much for being here. I'm looking forward to your presentation, and it doesn't seem like a week goes by where I don't see you guys out there, or I hear a compliment from a parent saying thank you. We're so grateful that they're there, they're inspiring our students, so it's been a great positive experience. So thank you for being here. Thank you.
To add to Mr. Patel's, I believe that the spring break, there are 3 different, so I think Salinas City has their spring break at one day. We have ours at another day. And then there's another school.
The high school district.
The high school.
And ours is at the first week of April.
Yes, and it's like, I thought that we had aligned it with the high schools, and evidently somehow it just didn't get.
They've, in the past few years, whenever we've had a joint committee and we've come up with a calendar, it's then gotten changed.
Yes, and I do
After
remember that
we've
after
had
the
a
fact.
joint committee, so.
Wow, okay, so I don't, that was bizarre because I have, Yeah, and it affects my family, and I'm sure not only my family, but a lot of other families here in the district where one is, 3 different dates. That's quite ridiculous, but you're right. Because we have set it along with the high school district, and then all of a sudden the high school district changes it. So, I mean, sometimes it is beyond our control, but I think we all 3 need to talk about, all 3 districts have to talk about, how we're going to align it to the same dates.
Well, the other issue is ADA. I mean, if you're gonna take only one child's vacation time, then the other child won't be
Yes.
there. So it affects all of us in terms of ADA dollars,
Yes, it does.
It does affect all of us, and I think we need to revisit it, but in
Yeah.
terms of the reality is it's us putting ourselves at the mercy of the high school district because they have a lot more pieces to move, and it makes it, if we're willing to live with what they come up with or not, because they're not gonna move to accommodate us, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So for myself, reports on meetings attended, I am the Santa Rita rep to the Monterey County School Boards Association, and we had our meeting not 2 Mondays ago. It was very well attended and actually got a lot done in my opinion. Each year the Monterey County School Boards Association honors a nonprofit in the area that serves the children of Monterey County, and this year we're going to be honoring First Tee, which I'm very excited about because they do great work. And so that'll be on March 26th. And then there was also discussion at the meeting of reestablishing a county level committee representing teachers, classified board members, superintendents for things that we need to advocate for that are of common interest in the county. And what we're talking about is housing for our employees, healthcare, teacher shortage, things that just affect all of the districts in common. And so I volunteered to be part of it along with several other people that were present. So I'm really encouraged if it gets off the ground in terms of, I think, giving us a better voice, even through things like talking to our state legislature and that kind of thing about, the issues that affect all of us and, are just part of our daily lives working here in the county. So it was a really positive meeting. And then I will be at New Republic tomorrow in the morning. Very excited for the superintendents to be there for our getting to view one of our amazing schools. Yeah. And then Tim is ill, so Melissa is our amazing leadership.
We had LPAC training for our elementary paraprofessionals who will be assisting with the assessment as well as our teachers this afternoon. Some of our teachers across the elementary sites like to graciously help us out when it comes to English language proficiency assessments. So we'll start rolling those out as soon as everyone feels ready, and we have all of the accommodations loaded for this online test, and we will most assuredly give it our best effort. It's new for everyone, so that's across the state. The other thing that we wanted to bring up is that we will be sending out a letter tomorrow to our candidates for our board opening that will give them the next steps. And I believe we'll schedule the meeting that we'll have to do that before we leave tonight. Other than that, I don't really have anything. Sorry.
That's us.
Yes, that's
All right.
Okay. Good evening, Board President Turner, members of the board, Assistant Superintendent Alder, and committee members. Hello. I'm School Resource Officer Lino Sanchez, and I'm joined by my partner, School Resource Officer Richard Lopez. Thank you for giving us the time to present a very brief overview of our positive and valuable work for the past 2 years. Our presentation will show how school resource officers increase safety, promote positive community climate, and encourage student success. Back in 2014, the U.S. Department of Justice Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services awarded the City of Salinas Police Department a $3.4 million grant to hire school resource officers for 3 years. After an intensely competitive selection process, Chief Frese chose Officer Lopez and I, and we started our SRO mission on October 30, 2017, under an MOU that expires on August 31st of this year. But we hope it will be extended, and that can take place by a conversation between our superintendent and our chief. As police officers, it's in our DNA to focus on safety and security, so everything we do is based on that strong instinct. However, working in schools requires much more. That's why we follow the recommendations of the National Association of School Resource Officers to work as teachers and informal counselors, in addition to our core law enforcement function. A picture is worth 1,000 words, especially when it comes to relationships. They show the smiles, the hugs, and the love we have developed with everyone in our schools and surrounding neighborhoods. Positive relationships develop trust in law enforcement and lead to problem-solving partnerships. We need everyone in or outside of our schools to feel comfortable telling us when something or someone could harm our students or schools. Education is a key component of our prevention efforts, and we accomplish this by using highly successful, age-appropriate, evidence-based curriculums. We teach DARE, that stands for Drug Abuse, Resistance, and Education, for 5th graders to help them make wise choices and stay away from drugs and other negative behaviors. We discuss topics including bullying and peer pressure and prepare them for their next step into middle school. At the middle school, we continue educating with GREAT, that stands for Gang Resistance Education and Training. It builds upon what they learned in DARE by adding conflict resolution, anger management, and communication skills. We also include a community service project so that students learn that they have an important role and responsibility to improve our communities. Parents also need education on how to better guide their children with love, structure, and discipline. So we work with a nonprofit, Partners for Peace, and facilitate 2 nationally recognized parenting courses. Parent Project for parents of strong-willed middle school students, and Loving Solutions to help parents with children in elementary school. Due to the nationwide increase in active killers, we teamed up with Nadine Dormady and became ALICE trainers. ALICE stands for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate, and it's a nationally recognized system that increases survival during violent critical incidents. We have shared the information with all staff, parents, and children so that we can all have that survival mindset. We find education opportunities everywhere, including playground visits to chat about being kind instead of bullying, field trips to teach the value of hard work and responsibility, cafecitos and assemblies to have dialogues and collaborate with parents. And when we're not teaching or hanging out with our kids, we're out there keeping them safe from aggressive drivers or any other threat to their safety. You'll see us working as high visibility crossing guards, and just our presence has a calming effect. Our less visible activities include monitoring of site security, researching grants and technologies, and constantly searching for improvement opportunities. We're also part of a very effective collaborative teams led by each school principal. The teams address issues including bullying, mental health, and drug use. We focus on prevention and mitigating future issues. When parents work with teams, we see tremendous success in steering students away from negative behaviors. The goal, after all, is to see them graduate and move forward in life. Our schools are very safe, but we do get drivers ignoring our crossing guards and a few unruly parents. Recently, at a school Christmas event full of children and families, we encountered a drunk parent. The school had me on speed dial, so when I arrived, the parent refused to leave. He challenged me to a fight and wanted me to taser him. Fortunately, he didn't get his wish, but he did get to spend the night in jail. These types of events are rare, but they highlight the importance of having us dedicated to our schools to reduce response time and keep our campus safe. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Leo. So let me continue a little bit with some numbers. Excuse me. So looking at some numbers, since the time we started through 2019, we've issued a total of 81 citations, most of which have been for traffic violations. And of those citations, the majority were issued to adults, and a total of 17 were issued to minors. 2 of those issued to minors were for traffic violations that were committed by non-district minors. So that leaves us with just 15 citations issued to students in our district. Of course, I'd love that to be 0, but the reality is you would have some problems sometimes. So as you can see, it's 4 of the 9 drug-related cases were for furnishing or selling illegal substances on campus, while the rest were for simple possession. All the citations for violence were for fights that occurred at the school or on the way to or from school. Yeah, but in all cases, the incidents were addressed by the school first. We were then requested to investigate by either the principals or the parents in those cases. Now, our schools are safe, but we never stop improving. So for this new year, we have additional safety projects planned, and that's including an increase in surveillance cameras to document any concerning behaviors. We're also planning on training parents on how to lock down their children's cell phones and electronics through the Vigilant Parent Initiative. Such training helps reduce cyberbullying and it empowers parents. And we're also going to be evaluating an anonymous reporting system to increase communication of potential threats or other harmful behavior. Most active killers share their plans beforehand, but the fear of retaliation or being labeled a snitch prevents us from getting much of that valuable information. So reporting anonymously will definitely help. And what's even better is that this system is actually completely free. So we're looking forward to getting that in our district as well. So before we conclude, I wanted to share a few stories that highlight the power of strong relationships, because they lead to a free flow of information that is sometimes quite surprising, as was the case when I was hanging out with some kids during recess, and a 5th grader came up to me and asked me a question in her sweet little low voice. And she asked, Officer Lopez, what can I do if I feel like I want to kill myself? And of course, that's something that no one ever wants to hear. But I thank God that I was there to hear that, and I was present in that opportunity, that moment of weakness for her. And that little girl trusted me. And that's really important. And that allowed me to potentially save her life and also get her the immediate help that she needed. Another story of trust and relationships involves a student that I met in my grade class. He was bright, funny, yet defiant. His strength was hiding a horrible family life, though. All his close family members were homeless and drug addicted. And this boy had to fend for himself, seeking shelter wherever he was lucky to find it. Principal Koenig, with her enormous heart, never gave up on him and got the team together to help. He now has a stable and safe foster home. And this Christmas, I took him on a shopping spree to Target, and I'm really happy to report that he's doing much better, and he's very grateful for all of those who fought for him. The final story is about another former middle school student that I met before I even became an SRO. And fast forward a few years, and our trusting relationship revealed a potentially deadly and abusive, dysfunctional family environment. Knowing him and his family better than any other officer allowed me to circumvent incarceration for him, because he was facing attempted murder charges, and that's pretty serious. I knew that the child needed counseling and a safer environment, and just a few weeks ago, I checked in on him to see how he's doing, and he's definitely still doing much better and still improving. So finally, we want to express our most sincere gratitude to all the board members, Superintendent Ryan as well, for allowing us to serve as SROs. And thanks go out to main office staff, principals, secretaries, everyone that's part of a team that we work together with to help out our children out here. And also, of course, thanks to all the hundreds of families out there that trust us every day with their children's precious lives. So without that trust, there's no way we could be even standing up here talking about these wonderful things that we're doing as SROs. So thank you so much for your support, everyone, and everybody out there in YouTube world. So thank you. Any questions, we're here to answer those.
Board questions or comments?
I want to say I got to know both of you guys in the short time that I've been here. I'm very impressed in how approachable you both are. You know, SROs are always a very touchy subject. You know, there's been good cases and bad cases on both sides.
I see it like
And
that.
so I think you two were the right people to be chosen for this job. And so for that, I'm very thankful. And also very thankful and impressed by you guys' work. Thank you.
I just want to commend both of you. I think you've taken a program and expanded it to a very comprehensive system where it's working with all the leadership at the site, coupled with the extraordinary outreach you're making both to the elementary school and to the middle schools with the DARE and GRADE program. And when I was looking at the idea of developing parents and having those pathways being built, you know, it was phenomenal. And the sharing of the 3 stories, you know, at the end. To me, you said one word that really exemplified everything, and that was the word trust. You know, trust to do the right thing, trust to be there, trust to make sure that our students are protected. You know, so I just want to say thank you very, very much. And Madam President, I hope this board sees the wisdom in what we did a few years ago, and we continue this into the future, and we build that bridge with the city, you know, to make sure we have these great officers, you know, with our district as a family. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, like everybody else has been thanking you. I worked in a school where we had SROs at Los Padres school, and I found it very effective. The kids just, like we all said, trusted, and I hope that you guys come back, and I hope that well, it's up in August of 2020, correct?
Yes. Yeah, in a few more months, yes.
And so how soon will we know whether you're gonna get another grant, and do you get to come back with this? Because I know now that other school districts want you now.
I see that.
So how soon would you know about your grant?
Well, I don't know about the ability for us to get another grant. Some of the things that I've been hearing is that it's probably not gonna happen. But the good thing is that we don't have to function off of a grant. It's one of the things that, God willing, we still have the staffing to allow us to be here, so we can definitely continue. My directive when I asked my supervisor about this is to continue as if there is no end date. And that's really very hopeful information for us. So that way, because I told him, I mean, we really need to know, because if we're going to plan for the next session of GRADE and DARE, we need to know where we are. And he said, move forward as if there is no end date. But I also would like to follow the natural recommendations that we do have an MOU in place. And I think starting the conversation between the superintendent and our chief of police would be the ideal thing.
Again, thank you so much. We've really appreciated it, and I get positive comments all the time. So it's been a blessing to us. And actually, you had a picture of my house in there. No, it's just funny. I meant that in a good way. You're parked in Fred Drive where the traffic is at Santa Rita, so you can park there every day. And we will direct the superintendent to reach out to the city and see what we can do about putting us on a secure footing before the next school years. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's definitely a pleasure for us to serve this district and all the families that are here. I mean, every day, that's our mission, is just keep them safe and make things even better.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So we are now at 5.5, receive hearings of individuals desiring to address the board on non-agenda items. Are any public comment at this time? Going once, going twice.
How many applicants, if I can have a number, have there been to apply for the board to be board member?
There are 6, and the applications are now closed. And before the end of the meeting tonight, we will agendize when we're going to interview those people, and it'll all be, that's completely open. Anybody can attend. It'll be a public meeting, but we're going to schedule this because there are 6 candidates. We're going to schedule. It's going to be its own meeting, separate from the regular board meeting, just because of the time involved. Okay, so we are at 6.1, consider approval of payment for all penalties imposed by CalSTRS to Santa Rita.
So this is pretty much what I was talking about earlier. It's, I know in the past, this used to be per retiree and you would approve the contract and the amount per the retiree. Since we process adjustments for 44 retirees, I pretty much want to get all of them in one item. So it's pretty much approving the payment for those retirees. Is either gonna go directly to CalSTRS, or it's gonna be going the way the district did it in the past, which is generating a check and covering taxes event.
Any questions or comments?
No, I just want to say, that we're taking care of our returns.
I am too, and I'm irritated that CalSTRS told everybody to do it wrong in the first place.
Yes.
But can I have a motion to approve 6.1?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 4-0. Okay, 7.1, consider approval for the district to sunshine their proposal to open negotiations for the 2020-2021 school year.
So we heard SRTA's sunshine proposal at our last meeting, and our district is also proposing to have conversations regarding 2 articles in addition to the ones that SRTA has. Your passage open. Any questions?
I just have a comment. I mean, I've been listening to that word for 2 decades now, and I just love the descriptive word, sunshine. And it just, I mean, do they take a class in this, or is this something, you know, they just go up one day and go, hey, Mr. Opener, we're gonna call it sunshine?
It means to shine the light
Yeah.
on those articles.
Yeah, how do we do that?
Can I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve 7.1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes 4-0.
We should play that song. You know,
7.2, approve the tentative agreement between the SRTA and CSEA Chapter 503 for the 2019-2020 school year.
So this is to conclude negotiations with CSEA for 1920 before we open for 2021. And this language is mostly just to bring us to compliance with current law.
Okay, sorry, it's,
The organizational rights and responsibilities.
yep, it says approved
Tentative agreement.
yeah, but it says SRTA instead of a union school district.
Oh, it sure does.
Yeah.
I guess
So I read
doing
it and I
two
was
things at
like,
once.
wait, no.
Let's correct that.
Yeah.
Oh, the SRUS, oh, at
Yes.
the top.
Yes,
My apology, SRUSD and CSEA.
yes, and it,
Yes.
just for clarification,
Thank you.
the contract behind is correct. There is just a small labeling problem on
Labeling on the
the
cover sheet.
front cover sheet. So we are approving the tentative agreement between Santa Rita Union School District and CSEA Chapter 503, which,
Thank you.
and I do read these before and didn't catch it
I can
until. Yeah, I just got confused, as I should have.
Motion to
Okay.
approve as amended with SRTA changes, are you good? On the item line only.
Yes. Okay, do I have a motion to approve as amended? I need a second, I'm sorry.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0, sorry, that just confused me. Okay. 7.3, consider approval of the request to hire a human resources liaison classified management in place of a human resources specialist confidential.
So we looked at the job description for this position at the last meeting. Currently, our HR department consists of the director and 2 HR specialists. This would change one HR specialist position to a classified management position. The district has grown in their staffing annually for the past several years. And of course, looking at new schools coming, we're anticipating additional needs. So this person would be able to assist with some of the tasks that I focus a lot of my time on, which will also allow me to focus on the systems and processes that we're developing, as well as our negotiations. Any questions or comments?
I'm fully supportive.
We talked about the job description and discussed it, so. Do I have a motion to approve 7.3?
Motion approved 7.3.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye, passes 4-0. Okay, 7.4, consider approval of the student service learning agreement with Hartnell College for January 1st, 2020 through January 1st, 2022.
So we partner with several of our institutions of higher education, Hartnell Community College being one of those, for service learners as well as teachers moving into teaching pathways. And so this is continuing and renewing an MOU with the community college. Questions or comments?
Very much.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve 7.4.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes 4-0. Okay, continuing, 7.5, consider approval of the student service learning agreement with Western Governors University from February 2020 through February 2023.
Again, working with another institution of higher education for student teaching, with always looking to grow our own.
Absolutely. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes.
You cast a big white net. Wide
Yes.
net, you know,
Yes.
and you go as far as you need to go.
Okay, 7.6, consider approval of provisional internship permit for Carolina Quesada to teach special education at Gavilan View Middle School.
So we have hired Miss Quesada as a teacher to fill a vacancy that was created in the middle of this school year. She is in her program, but is not yet intern eligible, so this will get her through this school year.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Passes 4-0. Okay, so we're on to 8.1, approve master safe routes to school agreement with the Transportation Agency for Monterey County.
The Transportation Agency for Monterey County reached out to us. They are working with other local districts as well as the city and some other nonprofit agencies. They want to come out and do a study about our routes to school, and they can make suggestions, including our parking lots and drop-off pickup, things like that. And we thought this in particular would be helpful, especially as we're growing, to go ahead and partner with them. It's no cost to us. We'll host some meetings for our parents as well. As part of this, they come out and do presentations so that our parents understand what it is that they're studying and what kind of recommendations that they make. And so our part of this is making sure that they have the space and the time available to come in and meet with our staff, to tour our schools and campuses, as well as the routes to school around us, and time set aside for talking to our parents and community members.
Questions or comments?
That was pretty exciting
Yeah.
stuff that they're gonna be doing.
No, I'm excited.
You get a free package, Thursday. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, can I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Okay, so we are now on to 12.0, future meetings, agenda items, and adjournment. I would like to, at some point, have a meeting, agendize discussing what's going on with the preschool. Now that the new director's had a little time to just get her feet wet and talk about what our plan is going forward. I'm revisiting the Parent Resource Center. specifically at Santa Rita and also, where we are with or without new construction there, and then our other new portables. Just, we had,
And the last time we said we were gonna go back to bidding and then.
yeah, we were at the point of going back out to bid. We were trying to put portables on sites at Santa Rita that already had electrical and water hookup because they had portables there before to minimize costs. But the bids that came back were not within what we had allowed them to be, so we need to revisit what's going on there. Any other things that we really need to agendize?
I think also kind of what I mentioned earlier, as far as finding out the percentage of parents that only speak Spanish in the school sites, and then the possibility, if it is a high percentage enough, to look at having those type of meetings in Spanish only.
Yeah, I think we could talk about what we do. I mean, one model that I've seen used was that they did like a 45-minute meeting in Spanish, like kind of like sort of like a like an overlap, and then a 45-minute meeting in English was sort of like the same agenda topics, but just making sure that people had the, you felt like, as you could say, could completely participate.
Free flow. Yeah, free flow, exactly.
Anything else?
I'd like an update on the garden out here, please. I know we had, at one point it was mentioned that we were waiting for Tommy to do something that he had to do out there.
They were staining the concrete.
That's what it was, yeah.
And sealing it, so, I don't know when that's, if we're done now and, or if there's still.
Yeah, because I think we were gonna do some kind of a, yeah, dedication.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
So I kind of wanna see it to.
Yes, absolutely.
fruition.
Anything else?
You set the date for the.
We do need
Oh,
to set,
that's
so, for setting the meeting? No. I don't believe so. Yes. So we tentatively discussed February 24th at 5 o'clock as a meeting for appointing our new board member. So is that date and time workable for people?
I concur.
And just for the public's knowledge, the idea was we would appoint our new person at that meeting on the 24th, so that then they would be able to sit on the 26th when we have our regular meeting, that we would then have everybody here,
And we
so.
will publish notice for the
Yeah.
special meeting in ample time for people to.
Yeah, so it's giving people 2 weeks of notice, so we should be fine within, Brown Act of giving people notice, and the applicants themselves are gonna receive a letter from the district stating the meeting time and date.
And we're still looking at 5 o'clock, right?
We're still looking at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock on the 24th.
Madam President, I'm just very excited. We have so many applicants, I just found that very exciting. To know that we have community engagement in our district, the more the merrier.
Yeah, absolutely. The installation of the sign for the science garden is actually going to be on the 24th. So we should be able to provide an update of when we can go ahead and move forward with the ceremony or dedication.
Great, thank you.
24th.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna go ahead and adjourn at 6:09. Thank you.
Now that, the 24th, that's the same day as